we're excited today and excited for y'all to be the very first episode of a great, hopefully several seasons is what we're planning, of Appalachia Fusion. And this will be the title of our new show, and is the title of the new show. And we're just excited. We're going to bring the old Appalachian cuisine into a twist of places I've been, I've traveled, influences in my culinary cuisine that I've got introduced to in my life. So Appalachia Fusion, I mean, we're going to do great things, going to do fun things with it, and I hope you guys love it. And that's exactly what we're doing today. I put a whole lot of thought in the recipes for this segment today. And these recipes I'm using, a lot of that comes from some older ladies around my neighborhood, portions of stuff I've eaten that's been theirs, and I'm putting my own little twist on it. So I hope you guys like it. Right now we're actually frying some bacon up, and I want to turn it up. And today we're actually just using a electric skillet. That's it. That's all we need today. Other than we're going to be doing some cornbread. I do have a cast iron skillet in the oven. So let's turn our bacon up. And what we're going to start off with while our bacon's frying to get ready for our greens. And Appalachia culture, kindly, everybody knows turnip greens, mustard greens, and stuff like that, and then a wilted lettuce, which is totally opposite. They're like way across from each other. A lot of people don't really like turnip greens or mustard greens, but I absolutely love them. So we're going to do a twist on them with bacon grease, and finish it off with a little bit of my pickled okra. Now these got a twang to them, like persimmon twang almost, but they're good. You gotta like them. One or two will probably do you. But these have been canned with some cayenne pepper, so we're going to use the vinegar and pickled from that also in mustard greens later, just kindly to finish it off. A little bit goes a long ways, remember that. So let's get our cornbread ready. Our cast iron skillet's already preheated in the oven, 400 degrees with a little oil in it. So we're going to just slide this beautiful board back. I'm going to get one of my handy dandy mountain telephone cutting boards. Love these. These are great. And I use them at home. I keep them. What's great about them, you can throw on your cutting board, wooden one, cut meat, wash it, whatever. Throw another one on there and keep everything clean. So we're going to slice some okra kindly thin. And the reason why, and it's already been washed, we want to slice it thin is because we want this to bake in the cornbread. And this is where the twist kindly comes in, part of it. Instead of a fried okra and cornmeal, we're going to incorporate the okra in with the cornbread. And also crawfish. And a funny story about that, you think, what does crawfish have to do with Appalachia? And it's flipper bacon here. And a great deal, actually. When we was growing up, hopefully everyone had the fun time of going to the creek, catching crawfish. Well, we actually eat the crawfish. We'd put them in the oven, bake them, tails, get the tails baked, and actually eat them. And I was researching Appalachia, I always am, cookbooks and recipes. And there's actually a recipe for this. And I was like, that is just so cool. But the twist I'm turning on, instead of the good Appalachia Creek crawfish, we're going to incorporate Cajun crawfish. A twist on that in with our cornbread and okra. So we're bringing a little fusion in that way. The bacon needs to be taken off. And, I mean, we're going to be using this bacon. We're going to be refrying it. Just lay it there to the side. It won't hurt nothing. And we're going to turn our bacon grease back down and warm till we're ready with it. So let's finish your cornbread. Remember, cut them in smaller slices so they get done. This is really good okra. And okra is just great. And I may even end up frying some later with the bacon and stuff because I just like okra. So kindly slice them up thin. And we'll probably do 4 or 5 of these. Throw it in with your cornbread mix already as you do it. If you have any okra left over, find you a pint jar. Do like 2 cups of vinegar, half cup of sugar, a cup of water. Mix it together, boil it. Stuff your okra in there in your jar and pour it over it, and just put your cap seal on it, and you'll have pickled okra. We'll post a recipe on our website. Look at it on MTTV on the website page that actually has the cooking shows. Scroll down and they'll have several recipes and cooking shows that we done. And here in a week or so, we'll have that recipe on there for pickled okra. So anyhow, I'm going to finish slicing some okra up. Remember, slice it kind of thin because you want it to bake. You don't want it real thick pieces so it don't bake. And okra gets slimy quick. That's just the nature of it. And we've used it before. I know y'all have seen us use it before when we made gumbo. I think we made gumbo back on the old cooking show. And so still watch those and tune into those, because we'll, from time to time out on telephone, they still air from field to plate. Those aren't going nowhere. And we always appreciated y'all watching that show. But we kind of felt that the Appalachia Fusion is just, that's what I like. So, and incorporate some of the stuff I like to cook into the recipes. So, anyhow, you don't want an abundance of it, but you want enough that you're going to have a piece of okra here and there in it. So we'll do one more, and then we'll put some crawfish in it, mix it up, and we'll actually get our cornbread in the oven and let it start. That should be enough. So anyhow, we got the okra there. And as we mix it in a minute and we tell that, hey, we may want to put a little more okra in it, we can tell. So let's put I like crawfish. I love crawfish. Let me rephrase that. So let's put a few tails in it. These are already pulled out of the tail, just the meat only. So you can buy these, ain't no big deal. Already ready to go. So in this cornmeal mix, we actually have 2 cups of cornmeal, half cup flour, a little bit of salt, a little bit of baking soda, and powder, so it rise. And that recipe also will be listed later. So I want to start with my milk. I want to pour a little bit in it and start mixing it around. And this also let you know kind of how much ingredients, as far as the crawfish and okra, if you want to add more or not to make it, where every bite has a piece is kind of what you're looking for on it. And I think it's going to be really, mixed up wherever everybody gets a bite of it, I believe. Oop. Might need to give me just a little bit more milk. If you run out of milk, just grab you a little bit of water. It's fine. Sometimes I use buttermilk too. So you want a good consistency in this, and we're getting close to that right now. We actually want to a little bit more. We should be there. You want to wear it run and spread out in your pans where you're looking for. We're actually going to take this extra okra. We'll just set it over here by our greens that we'll get to in a minute. We're about there, guys. We're planning some really cool stuff with this new show, and putting our heads together to bring y'all some exciting new stuff for this year and this season of it. And I hope y'all enjoy this meal we're having today. Hope it's something you would want to try at home. It's always a little tricky when you add like okra and crawfish to cornbread. It takes a little more of the water stuff to get it to where we want it, but we're almost there. About got it where I want it. That'll do it. Okay, I am going to get my hot skillet out of the oven. Be careful when you do this because it's been on 400 degrees. When I say it's smoking hot, it's smoking hot. And that's what you want in here. You want a super hot skillet with oil in it to put your cornbread in. And you want it to sizzle just like that. That's exactly what we're looking for, what we're wanting. We're going to put it right back in the oven, let it bake for about 15-20 minutes. Oh, got be a little more smoke in a minute. So let's set our timer. Start cook time. 15. Start. Okay, we're good to go. So that's bacon, and we're done with the cornbread. I always like getting that in first, getting it done, setting it to the side. So let's put this over to the side. Let's get started on our greens. Bring this back. And I already had the eggs in there, so we're good on that. And let's start on our greens. Actually, slide this up. So we have a mixture of mustard greens and collard greens right here. And just start slicing them up. I like my greens sliced really fine, so I'll just start this way and I'll just keep going through them and cutting them up till I get them where I want them at. And it looks like a bunch right now, but when they cook down, it won't be a whole lot. And I mix both of them together. My mama always done that too. She'd raise all kinds of different greens, and we'll put these in there too. And the trick here, these wasn't bad because I took them out, but let me show y'all something. If you don't like the stem, some people does and don't, just cut it out like that. You don't have that big stem in there. It's just, some people prefers it, likes it, some don't. So it's better if you flip it over to it. It's a little easier to cut out. But like that's where it's got a big old stem on it. These outer limbs or leaves usually does. No big deal to cut that out. Just wad it up and start cutting it up. No big deal. We'll just chop it all up. There ain't no rhyme or reason. Just keep chopping until you get it where you want it. Like I said, it's going to wilt down. Some people likes it really fine. Some people likes it a little more coarse. Looks like ours is going to be somewhere right in between. So let's turn our bacon grease back up. On about 300. We want to add our, let me get me a little spatula out. Garlic, about a tablespoon. Put it in there. We'll just let it cook just for a minute. You can see it's already hot again. We're going to add our greens. Put that in the sink. Now we can slide this cutting board back for a minute. For a moment of time. Let me get me a wood spatula out. We just want to toss this around in bacon grease right now. Soak up every bit of that bacon grease. We might even have to add some water in a minute as it cooks down. First thing we want to do is make sure we get the grease all the way in there. I absolutely love greens. I always have, even as a kid. My mom would make them where a lot of kids don't eat them. I always did eat them. And done some studying. Actually, when the settlers come in America, not just here, the Indians taught them a lot about the greens and stuff like that, and even introduced them to corn. So when you talk about Appalachia, you know, you're talking about a lot of different cultures that influence the cooking here. And look how much they're already cooking down. Like I said again, in a minute when this cooks down, we're going to cook everything in this skillet. So I want to transfer this to another iron skillet I got in the oven that's just on warm, so it just stays warm until we get ready to eat. There's nothing special going on here with the exception of a little hot sauce I'm going to put in there right now, just a little bit. And the garlic may be a little different than what most people would do. Other than that, we're going to put just a little bit of the pickled okra vinegar on it instead of regular vinegar. Pretty much nothing super fancy, just a few twists. So I'm actually ready to take this out and put it in my other iron skillet because it'll finish. I don't want them to cook completely up. And like I say, you know, we got plenty of okra left, so I'd pickle that if I did this recipe. If you don't have okra at home, you can get okra at Walmart. They sell it in the fresh produce section. It's really good okra, nothing wrong with it. I suggest everyone in their garden should have at least 2 okra plants, and trust me, 2 okra plants will be way more than you'll ever eat or can for a simple family. So right now we're not really going to do nothing else with this except put it in this other iron skillet. We'll finish it when we get ready to eat. And I got it down here on warm. It's not super hot, but you still need to use a mitten. You can see the hot sauce kind of cooking out of it. We'll finish this after a while. We'll actually end up putting this back in here, finishing it. But we want it to stay warm right now, so we're going to put it in the oven. And I still, even changing the name of the show, I still like using one pot as much as I can because that keeps you from having to cook or wash as many dishes. I'm just putting it to the side so it stays warm. Ain't really going to do much else with that. Probably could have picked a better spatula, but it'll do the job. Just set this back in your oven just like that. We'll finish that off in a little bit. Let me grab a couple paper towels. Take you a couple paper towels, wipe it out real quick. Ain't no use to grab another pot to get dirtied up. Everything's out of it, it's clean. Wipe your spatula off, wipe everything there. Bacon's for the greens in a little bit. Let's check our cornbread, see how it's looking. It's rising up nice, so that should be good. Now, this is my favorite part. Let me wipe my knife off here. We got some paper towels here. I don't know if y'all have ever had bacon fried in cornmeal. I hadn't until about, 3 or 4 years ago. we had a dinner at church. I can't remember. It was where someone either passed away or a homecoming or either or. But anyhow, everyone brought a dish in. Just like typical southern, eastern Kentucky people. You know, everyone brought their dish. So I seen this bacon, and it looked very different. I was like, what's that bacon? So I grabbed a piece, neat piece, and it was like, wow, that's good. And then I ended up getting a plate full. So don't judge. And then actually I was like, who made that bacon? And I kindly figured out, and then it's cornmeal on it. And Rosetta Hunt there by the house. And you might know her by her husband, Cecil Hunt, from a long time ago, and her kids. They've been frying bacon like that forever. And I'm like, why have I never heard of this ever? And so I made some again. Now, they're not been about 2 years ago. And I was like, you know, I didn't know if my wife would like it or not. And kids, and I mean, it didn't last no time. So this is some bacon we cured. And you want to start off with a little bit of oil. I know bacon makes its own grease. Yes, it does. But you got cornmeal on this. So if you put the cornmeal in there without the bacon making grease, then it's just going to brown. So I got it back on about 350. And this is some bacon I cured at home. And I'm into curing my own stuff and meats. And this is home cured bacon. Smoked, did it. And usually pork belly will make you several. Nothing fancy. Just bacon and cornmeal. Put it right back in there. And this is the bomb. I'm telling you, it's like, I know you're like, how can it be good? It's just bacon and cornmeal. It's bacon and cornmeal. Come on. They're both good, bacon and cornmeal. And I don't know if y'all know this, but in Appalachia times, while corn is so used so much, you know, they didn't have a whole lot. And even going back to the Indians, when settlers first come in America, corn was something that grew good here. So it influences all of us, especially Southern cooking, Appalachia cooking, whatever, is the corn. I mean, you go from grits to whatever, cornmeal to... And you want to fry this not super high, but it'll eventually start making its own grease too, and you're good to go. But you want to try to get it all in grease, and that piece may not got enough grease, but hopefully it'll. Yeah, there we go. Just roll it around a little bit till you get a good start of grease all the way through there. I mean, this is it. This is all you got to do. We'll put one more piece in here and fry it for now. And I tell you what, we might even end up doing after a while. We might just fry us up some okra, go with it. So we're going to fry this bacon up in cornmeal. We're going to check everything else, and we'll be right back. So we're back, and we're going to plate. Super, super simple here, guys. Our greens just come out, and they're perfect. So we're going to put them just right down like this. And they're pretty much just plain greens, so serve with some little pickled okra vinegar. And we're going to put some bacon in with them in a minute. Just crumble some of this in like you would wilted lettuce. Bacon bits. We like bacon here. We'll just take it and mix it through it like that, and you'll be just fine. Nothing fancy here. Some good home Appalachia Fusion is what we're going to call this. Okay, there's our greens. Okay. Now we're going to take our cornbread out. Let me tell y'all a secret, since we have some bloopers sometimes on here. And everyone ain't perfect. I forgot to put my eggs in my cornbread. But it still come out all right. But it will be a little crumbly. Do not forget your eggs in your cornbread, guys. I knew better. I just didn't do no better. But that's all right. That's all right. We're good. So we'll cut that in a minute. We want to take and just a little bit of this. Get one out for garnish. maybe a cayenne pepper or two for garnish. If you like it, it's pickled. Oh, okay. Now, I'm just going to put my lid on here so I don't pour too much out at one time. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this pickled okra juice on here. Top it off, tie it all in together. That's good. Okay. Perfect. Garnish that just like that. Okay. Now, our corn cake with okra and crawfish minus eggs is next to plate up. I mean, it's still held together pretty good, but don't forget your eggs. And you can also make this like hush puppies too, if you wanted to. So we're going to put a couple pieces of this on there. It does have to be fine. You can't hardly see the crawfish, but there are quite a bit of crawfish in there. See what we can find. Yeah, you can see it in there. So we're going to put 3 corn cakes here. Like that. So you can see it. Bring it over to the side. Okay. Now my favorite part is all this cornmeal bacon. We're just going to set it across through here like this. We do have a dipping sauce. Let me go over this with y'all. This is about 2 tablespoons mayonnaise, 3 tablespoons sour cream, a tablespoon and a half of stone ground mayonnaise, honey Dijon mayonnaise, and about a 1/4 tablespoon of Cajun seasoning. And it is great with the bacon or the cornbread. So we're going to put a little dab right on top of the cornbread and put a little dab here by the bacon. We've already pre-tried this, dipped the bacon in and eat it. It's just awesome. Put a little bit on each side. So this is the very first episode, season 1, episode 1 of Appalachia Fusion. And we'll go over this again one more time. Our collard mustard greens cooked in bacon fat, crumbled bacon in it, garlic, a little bit of hot sauce, finished with a little bit of the pickled okra juice or vinegar, garnished with 2 pickled okra and cayenne pepper. Our fried bacon and cornmeal with our sauce or dipping sauce we just talked about, and our cornbread that has okra, fresh okra and crawfish in it with a little dollop of our seasoning on top. So we thank y'all for tuning in to the first episode of Appalachia Fusion. We're glad you're on this journey with us. We're excited to start this new name and new journey, and with some great foods. These recipes will be on the MTTV in a few weeks. You can scroll down to the Food Part Bomb page, click on it, go down, and you'll have recipes of even our older shows from Field to Plate and David's show that's on. And you just pick a recipe, cook it, enjoy it, and let us know how you like it. Give us some feedback. Thanks very much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys, and we'll be on this journey together. Appalachia Fusion. Let's go. Hey guys, this is Larry Lewis. You probably recognize me from Field to Plate, and we're doing a promo today. I realized over time that I actually, spoke about myself and places we've been, but during the coronavirus and time off and working, and I've really got to think a whole lot about why I love to cook, and got to think about our show. And we do a lot of different cooking as far as Appalachia food, but I've always had my influence of places I've traveled and been in that. So a new show we kind of come up with is Appalachia Fusion. and we're excited. We're down here in Wrigley, Kentucky doing this promo today, Foothills Appalachian Mountains. I'm talking about Appalachia Fusion, and you know, where we come up with that, and personally just wanted to give y'all a little bit of my history. I mean, there's so many times I'm thankful that I had grandparents and got to spend quite a bit of time with my grandmothers, both of them. And one thing that started the love of cooking, they always showed me and would teach me how to cook different things. From, I can remember my Mama Bertha sitting on the porch breaking beans, cutting corn off the cob, and she said, let's go cook something for dinner. So we'd go in, either maybe it was just frying hamburgers, or she'd be cooking green beans and, you know, whatever it is. And so many times, like, stay all night and she'd get up, and one of the best stories is the homemade pancakes. I mean, we'd be sitting there and she's like, let's go make some homemade pancakes. Everyone knew her for her pancakes. And I can still remember the little white skillet sitting on the old electric stove, and she'd say, now you gotta watch all the bubbles come up in the pancakes, and when you get a full set of, and you often seen the bubbles I'm talking about, start cooking through, she said, they're ready to flip. And she would wait till it was just perfect, flip them, they'd come out perfect every time. I still can't do it that good, but I'm learning. And then my Mama Bernice on my dad's side, my goodness, she cooked for a slew, 10 kids. There are 12 total, 2 girls, 9 boys, 1 passed away. But she cooked her whole life. Just always a homemaker, cooking, canning. You could go down there any morning, she'd have a big breakfast and just sit and watch her. She's one of the first ones I actually taught me how to cook green beans and can them and stuff. So, there's just so much Appalachia history. And when you get studying it, you learn about the influence of cultures overall. And a lot of people like old-time cooking, but you know, it comes from several different cultures. It comes from the Scottish, and there's some French in there, and American Indians. First settlers that ever come into Kentucky, Morgan County, brought those influences with them. And that's why we have such a variety of foods in Appalachia, because you're talking about North Carolina, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, all the way up in Virginia, West Virginia, on up. And you take settlers from all these areas that's influenced. You get North Georgia, okra, crawfish, different things. You get down here in Kentucky, you're talking about soup beans, taters, you know, just all these goodies that we're used to cooking and doing. And smoked hams, because, you know, if you went a long time ago, and this stuff has influenced me because I can remember it and still do it today. You know, no one had refrigerators and stuff, so cured meats is such a big thing for the Appalachia culture, like hams and bacon and stuff like that people could preserve and canning. And we're going to bring a lot of that to you guys. And I was fortunate enough that I got to travel quite a bit and go to quite a few places. Julie, my wife, and I, and lived in Florida, worked in New Orleans, down south, and I cannot keep from bringing those influences into the Appalachia food. And that was the biggie on, a lot of our cooking, a lot of our shows is we always seem to find that I was bringing the Cajun cooking or the deep South cooking in Appalachia, and that's what it's going to be about, because that's what food is about. Food is about love. It's about culture. It's about bringing people together at the table, whether you're in Appalachia or down south or in the north or whatever. But one thing that Appalachia is people strong. And when they come here, and while the food is influenced, what was locally around is what they eat or what they grow. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to bring those foods in and put a little twist on them. So by no means, when you watch Appalachia Fusion, we're trying to change home cooking food, because we're not. I absolutely love it. You can tell I like home cooking. Anytime I can get a good plate of soup beans or fried potatoes or chicken dumplings, I'm game, the old-fashioned way. But we want to bring a twist on it. Maybe some of them you guys will like. Maybe some of them you all will try and you'll be like, man, this is really good. because when you get right down to it, the cultures that settled in the Appalachian Mountains always had a little twist on it, always brought something new to the table. And through Appalachia Fusion, we just want to bring something new to the table with the same ingredients that my mama, your mama, great mamas, the first settlers that ever come around this area cooked and used, and we just want to kick it up a notch. We filmed the first episode. Look forward for you all seeing that. It's going to be great. We're turning in doing a twist on some mustard and collard greens, some cornbread, a little twist on it with some locally produced. Let me rephrase that. First time I ever had it was local here with some bacon fried in cornmeal. So stay tuned for that. It'll be upcoming and it'll be the first episode of our first show. And thanks for tuning in. Those that do not know me or haven't seen me yet, my name's Larry Lewis. Again, I'm the host of From Field to Plate. We changed to Appalachia Fusion, and we're just excited and happy, and we'll see y'all on the cooking shows and look forward to seeing y'all some more.